Have you ever felt like you were meant for more but couldn't explain what that more is? Meet Natalie Thompson. At 32, she held a solid 9-to-5 job, steady income weekends, off-friendly co-workers. On paper, life looked good. Yet every night she lay awake with the same question looping in her mind. Is this really it? She tried everything: weekend escapes, gratitude journals, wellness podcasts, but the ache never left her. It wasn't dissatisfaction. It was deeper, spiritual, like something or someone was calling her. Yet she had no idea how to answer. Sound familiar? If your external life seems stable, but your inner world feels hollow, or far too loud for it to only be your thoughts, this video is for you. Because what if that restlessness is your signpost, not your flaw? What if the thing you can't fix is the thing you're meant to follow? Today we're breaking down 4 powerful signs that your calling might be far bigger than you think. But before we go further, here's one thing to remember. You're not crazy, you're not behind, you're not lost. You're simply being summoned. And those who hear the call often feel out of place because the world hasn't caught up to their vision yet. So let's begin. Sign number 1. You can't shake the feeling even when life looks fine. Natalie tried everything: yoga, new hobbies, even nature retreats. She kept a gratitude journal. She changed apartments, but nothing shifted. Because the ache wasn't something to fix, it was something to follow. If your external life looks good, but your soul feels restless, you're not broken. You're being nudged gently, persistently. This isn't boredom, it's sacred unrest, like something in you remembers why you're here. Take Marcus, for example, an accountant by day, sneaker designer by night. He'd drift to the coffee shop during lunch to sketch shoe ideas, even though he had no intention of selling them. That creative itch wouldn't let him rest. When you repeatedly return to something, even if it seems impractical, it's not just a hobby, it's the seed of your calling. You may work in an office, a cafe, or as a parent, but if your soul keeps circling back to a vision, an idea, a dream that won't let you go, you're being called. The call doesn't roar, usually it hums, and most people ignore it. But you noticed, and deep down, you know you're meant for something more. Sign number 2. People don't get it. And worse, you begin doubting yourself. When Natalie told her closest friends, she planned to leave her steady job for a creative agency. Reactions ranged from confusion to concern. Why would you do that? But your job is so good. Isn't that risky? And suddenly, she began to wonder, am I really crazy? Here's what most people don't understand. People won't understand your calling because it wasn't given to them. They didn't feel your vision before the spark even struck you. They didn't hear the whisper at 2 a.m. They don't have the same vision you do. So they speak from their framework. Stay safe, stay steady, stay known. But what if safe is slowly killing your growth? Every great innovator or trailblazer was once marked crazy, impractical, unstable. And then, the world eventually caught up. Your job isn't to wait for everyone to understand. Your job is to obey the assignment, even if no one claps right now. Loneliness in vision isn't a sign of being wrong. It's often a sign that you're just early. Sign number 3. You keep facing resistance that doesn't make sense. What if every step toward your calling is met with friction? Your plan stalls. The laptop crashes, a sudden expense arises, a loved one falls ill. Most people take this as a sign to stop. But what if it's actually a signal you're getting closer? Every time you lean into purpose, resistance intensifies, not because you're off track, but because you're on track. Natalie handed in her notice, only to be met with crisis at home. Her freelance gig fell through. Her car got rear-ended. It felt like everything was collapsing around her. But it wasn't cancellation, it was initiation. No diamond forms without pressure. No athlete gets stronger without resistance. Your character is being forged. If life feels unusually hard, ask, what if this isn't punishment but proof? Your calling attracts big resistance because it means you're stepping into significance. So keep walking, resilient, persistent, unshakable. Sign number 4. You experience strange, almost supernatural wake-up calls. These are moments so specific they feel orchestrated. A podcast plays the exact phrase you journaled the night before. A stranger says words you wrote in your comfort journal. A book leaps off a shelf as if to tell you it's time. That happened to Natalie. A month after resigning, she wandered into a bookstore in a fog of self-doubt. As she passed the self-help shelf, a book titled "Start Before You're Ready" literally fell off the shelf, landing at her feet. She froze. Coincidence maybe, but some messages are too loud to ignore. These wake-up calls aren't meant for others. They're coded to speak directly to you. Your calling doesn't always come with clarity. It comes with clues. It whispers. It is subtle, uncanny, vivid. It interrupts. It's aligned, precise, resonant. And it's clear. It's time. Now. You're not crazy. You're called. Maybe in this moment you've been nodding along while simultaneously doubting yourself. Are you making this up? Am I just being sensitive? Let me say this. You are not crazy. You are called. That restlessness isn't a flaw. It's an invitation. The world teaches us to silence it, to fit in, to play it safe. What if that internal tug is the only thing left capable of making you authentic? When Natalie told herself to be grateful for what she already had, a deeper part of her resisted. Because the call isn't a want, it's an identity shift. You don't need validation. You don't need certainty. You just need honesty with yourself. You know, you feel, you sense. You don't need to understand every detail. You just need to follow the breadcrumbs. Dream versus calling. Here's something most people get wrong. A dream is something you want. A calling is something that won't let you rest. You can walk away from a dream. You can't outrun a calling. Dreams start with desire. Callings begin with disruption. A dream says, what's in it for me? A calling says, who will suffer if I don't show up? Your calling isn't selfish, it's service. And your obedience doesn't just benefit you, it shifts lives. If what you feel won't go away, if it visits in your silences, if it's in the ache, not just the wish, that's not a dream. That's a call. Preparation disguised as pain. What you've endured, the rejection, the detours, the heartbreaks. Those weren't random. They were foundational. Pain prepares, delays deepens, loss tightens your vision. Natalie's heartbreak refined her boundaries. Her firing made her launch the agency. Her frustration gave her clarity. Purpose without preparation is pressure. But when you let the pain shape you, you become ready. Ask, what is this teaching me? What strength is this building? What am I being trained to carry? The journey isn't to wreck you, it's to ready you. Faith walk, not sight walk. This calling won't wait for perfect conditions. You don't get clarity first. You get clarity through movement. Callings come with breadcrumbs, not blueprints. You walk step by step, and the path reveals itself. It's faith, not foresight. Natalie started without a logo, without a full plan, just a whispered yes. And in walking, the path found her. The only way to arrive is to begin. You're not alone. You're early. Yes, you feel isolated. Yes, the old circle drifts. Yes, the applause is silent. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're ahead of your time. The pioneers walk alone until others can follow. Community will come, but only after you disrupt comfort. Stop hoping old friends get it. Start walking toward the future that already does. Loneliness now cultivates clarity later. Don't wait, you'll never feel ready. You might never feel fully ready. There will always be something missing. Confidence, experience, alignment. That's the trap. But readiness is created while moving, not before. The first steps don't have to be perfect. They just have to be taken. Natalie's first client came from an unintended DM. Her first workshop was 2 relatives. Her first video was raw and unpolished. But she showed up anyway. She moved. She trusted. So ask, what will I miss if I don't try? Because maybe your current pause is the very delay that makes your calling smaller than it's meant to be. Start now, even if your hands shake. You've made it through all 4 signs. You've felt something stir. You've heard the hush beneath the noise. Here's the truth. You didn't find this video by accident. You're not here just to be inspired. You're here because your soul is ready to act. Because maybe this is your confirmation that restlessness isn't a flaw, it's a signal that every closed door, every tearful night, every silent prayer has aligned you for this exact moment. Your life isn't random, it's purpose layered in your process. Here's your next step. Do something. Write the email, send the message, take the walk, say the yes, even if your voice trembles. You don't need to cross the whole canyon today. Just take one honest step forward. Which of the 4 signs struck you the most? Are you currently in a season of waiting wrestling, or finally answering the call? Drop a comment below, not just for you, but for the next person who needs the courage to rise. You never know who's reading. Your confession might be their wake-up call.